Alright, we're going to throw it all back together. We got just a real light coating of graphite. I got what they call dry slide. It's a graphite in a suspended liquid like ether. So I can spray it in there. Sticks to everything, then it dries and it leaves a very light coat of graphite. I don't want much at all in there. I just want a really, really light coating. So again, we're going to put this in there, flat spot down. Try not to touch anything on the inside too much to disturb that. Then pull trigger and it slides right in. Then we got to rotate it back around till that screw hole comes up. So those of you who didn't see that, I'll show you it again in a minute. I gotta clean the inside of this out real quick. I feel a little bit of grit in there yet. Shouldn't be any grit in there yet. Yeah, that feels good. I can touch the head, I can touch the inside, but I don't want to touch the outside. I want to keep that with graphite. So, I'm just going to clean this out a little bit better. Alright. Flat side down. Pull the trigger. There it goes right in. Move that back up. Alright. Let's put this bad boy back together. First we need the screw that we took out. And I'd like to ask the audience what size it is, but I gotta try to remember on my own, so it's not that size. Should be, which size is it? 5/64, I think. There we go, voila. I use a little blue Loctite, not much, just a small amount. I only use the blue because it's really easy to get apart. But I don't want things to loosen up on my buddy Dave. That would suck. Having stuff loosen up, so it's a little insurance policy, and it's not as strong as what was in there previously. Now, whenever you're tightening stuff, make sure you hold close to the end. And get it good and tight. Don't over tighten. Breaking things sucks. So we got our insurance policy of Loctite on there. Hammer sliding. Cock. Fire. Cock. Fire. That looks good. Not gonna fire till I hit the trigger. First stage. Second stage. Looks like that's working good. Alright. Now we're going to address the power issue. We're going to make a custom piece. We're going to take this piece for the 50 out of here. I imagine they're just changing these, seeing how there's a number written on there for different sizes, for different power levers. There's an 80, there's a 50, and then there's a 35 foot-pound Ranger out there. So I'm assuming here's the spring. They're just changing this bushing. Probably could machine it down. Like I said, my Ranger has a different bushing in it altogether. It's actually bigger, as you can see on the end here. Hold it the best way I can. Damn it. It's just a little bit bigger than that one as far as length goes. I don't know. Yeah, maybe my spring was a little tenser. My Ranger ran 984 and his is running 954. Pretty much everything else I can tell is the same. So we're going to take that off and this off. I'm going to set that in Dave's pile. And then what we're going to do is we're going to turn this and put that inside of here. And we're going to shorten it up like so. And the results I got with mine doing that were awesome. So we're going to do that with Dave's and we're going to test it out and see how it comes out. So hopefully it's just a bushing swap and you can really adjust the power a lot on these. So I'm going to customize this piece to fit inside the hammer like I want. and then I'll be right back. Okay, we're back in from the cold. We got this sized right to fit inside the hammer. It's just a smidge bigger. I want it to be nice and snug. Spring's gonna go in here. That fits nice and snug, not super tight. And then it slides inside of the hammer, that hollow spot inside there. Way inside there, it's gonna go all the way up in there. So we're gonna slide that up in there. Then we're going to take the spring, we're going to slide that up in there. We're going to decock the rifle. So we see we're going to still have some tension on that spring when we put everything back together, but not as much as what we had. We went from a lot, a ½ inch about, down to maybe an 1/8 of an inch. So these are just bed caster sockets. They're just plastic sockets I made. So I trimmed it down to fit, and we're good to go. This looks like a Durlin or nylon or something. So if all this works, we'll source something a little better maybe. If it stays working, great. So like I said, what we're trying to do now is get this thing running into the 870, 880, 860 range, somewhere in there, and get our accuracy where we want it. So let's put this baby back together. It'll be just the exact opposite of taking it apart. So we'll get our little bin of parts here. First things first, we'll put the safety mechanism back on. We gotta line up all 4 holes. So, actually I'm gonna set this down for a second. I found it a lot easier to put these guys on there as you need them. I'll get him set up on the end of the screw right away. I need to slide this guy back in there. Yeah, and then you drop something. Gotta love that. That's the best part of working on stuff, is dropping things. So make sure you got a nice clean environment so you don't go losing nothing. There, we got that one in. And we're going to get this one in. These I don't use any Loctite on because they're so dang tiny that they don't need any help sticking. So we're going to get that in. Now because there's holes that I'm lining up, I'm going to just loosen these a little bit so everything's just a little loose. So that way if I got to move something just a little bit on assembly, I don't have any big problem. So 1/16 wrench, we're going to put that back. Take our tape off. Our O-ring's still sitting where it's supposed to be. I'm going to take these screws first because they were in the back, the other 2 are in the front over there, and if I remember right, those are 7/64. No, and I don't remember right. 5/64. Yep, 5/64. Okay. This I know is tight because we tightened that down already. Any goo or ooh. Got a little bit of grease on the back of that. We're going to wipe that off. We got to line up the port with the port. This is the transfer port. That's the hole with the O-ring. it lines up pretty easy, it's pretty generous. So we're going to make sure we get that guy in there in the right spot. And we're going to put a little dab of Loctite on these guys. Actually, these guys I see has got some oil on them, so we're going to take that off. Somebody did a good job of greasing this one up, oil and grease on all kinds of things that it don't need to be. So, and the little blue Loctite too is nice because it's going to seal the threads and it's going to keep anything from rusting. As anybody knows, rust is nasty. And if you're taking something apart and it's rusty and crusty, it makes it a lot harder to get apart. So if you want to be able to take this thing apart again someday down the road, especially with steel going into aluminum, that sort of thing, it's nice to use just a little bit of Loctite to seal them up, but always blue Loctite. I no red Loctite on this stuff. So again, we're going to snug them down and then we're going to back it off just a little bit because we got 6 holes here to line up. Here's the regular head screws, standard screwdriver, slide the bolt probe out of the way. Yeah, I got a little bit more in there. Don't want too much, just a little bit, enough to seal up things and give it just a little bit of help. Right side screwdriver. We're going to screw these in. And then the metric ones, I don't get it, but whatever. At least that's what size is fitting out of my kits, is metric. I don't know, maybe some weird American size and the metric just happened to fit it too. I don't know, but it's a weird metric size. So once we get these guys, that one was need to move a little bit for lineup. Let me get these guys in, and we're going to go ahead and torque everything down. So everything's nice and tight. So again, I back them up just a little bit. Now I'm going to start with these guys because they're closest to the transfer port. I'm just going to give them a little bit of a snug. And I'm going to give these a little bit of a snug, not too much. I don't want to just tighten one screw all the way down. The back ones isn't so big a deal because you got the transfer port right here between these two. The back ones don't make that big of a difference, but there again, you don't want to just crank on one screw, you want to evenly tighten stuff down. If you crank on one screw, then things cock, and when you go cranking down the other side, then things don't line up, things bind, things break. So make sure you tighten things down evenly. Lighting isn't very good here. Good for maybe you guys, but not really good for me. So a little bit, a little bit, a little bit more, a little bit more. And here again, like I said, don't grab the end of the Allen wrench and briefy on way out here. Put it up, your thumb up here, a little bit of a turn. Get them snug, and once you get them snug, you only want to go about that much. I'd say maybe a 1/16 of a turn. They're little screws, little heads, you can strip them out, no problem. Yeah, Loctite's going to lube things up just a little bit on assembly, so it's going to turn easier, and you'll be able to put a lot more pressure on. So, just be warned. Strip stuff out, you'll be bumming. Alright. Another wrong side of the light. There we go. Those are tight enough. So I see a little residual goo on there. Let's get that cleaned off. We're going to put a drop of synthetic gun oil on here so that whole sliding mechanism works. You can see everything's working like it's supposed to. Nice and smooth. We still got a lot of oil and stuff on here, grease, so I wasn't too concerned about that at this point. We're going to put just a little bit of light oil on that, so let me go get that and we'll be right back. Here I got the synthetic gun oil, and then I got the plumber's grease. You're working with high pressure air. This is all not affected by air, so we're going to put just a dab of plumber's grease there and here. That's going to let that slide a little bit easier. And we're going to do a drop of synthetic oil right down here, one there, and just one drop. Put one drop back here just to thin it out just a little bit. So, don't need much of this stuff, but I do want to get that lubed up just a little bit. So that's something you can do just every once in a while. I'm talking just a drop, not squirting anything in there. Just let it barely go in. Oh, that's much better. Now it's sliding like super butter. So one drop back here. Look at that. Just like it's supposed to. So, and then I get off all the excess on there. Alright, there you have it. Okay, we're back again. We're gonna put the stock on and then we're gonna go test it out with the chronograph and see what we get for numbers. See how our numbers come out. Yeah, big one right there. Look her up, and there you have it. All back together again. Nice and smooth. Don't want it. Yeah, nice and smooth. Everything working like it should. Okay, let's go do a little bit of chronic testing. I'll see how that goes, and we'll wrap this up. Okay, our test came out pretty good. We're running 870 to 890, 900 right in there, right where we want to be. We're going to slap the scope back on. We're going to do some accuracy testing and fine tuning, and hopefully everything will be good. That's how you get to the hammer and do your polishing. So let's put the scope on, and away we'll go.